Hey everybody, today I've got a 2013 Jeep Grand Cherokee that has the 3.6 liter V6 on it and the left front motor mount is broken. So on these cars here, you have to remove the upper intake manifold. And then if you notice, it's looking pretty sparse in here because you have to take all this stuff off. Lower air cleaner assembly, the upper air cleaner assembly, the inlet to the air cleaner assembly, the engine cover, and then there's also the air intake plenum, which I have sitting over here. So after you get all those things taken off, you're at this section right here. Now the motor mount is way down here where my finger is. All right, I already taken one of the bolts out. There's a heat shield. So we're gonna have to take the other, there's a bolt there. There's a bolt here and a bolt there. We're gonna take out the other bolt to get this heat shield out, and then the stud will stick through. Then there is another bolt down here and another bolt on the other side, and then it's got a stud. But you have to take the intake manifold off because there's no clearance here. There's like 7 bolts here. There's a bracket here. There's a bracket here and another nut bracket there. And then there's a bracket on the back side and a bunch of electrical connections and vacuum connections. So here is the new motor mount. And from what I'm told, this stud is very tall, and that's why you have to take the intake manifold off. The instructions say there's a mount that mounts to the engine that sits like this to the engine, that you might have to remove that mount. Well, you know, you can't really get in here and see this car very well because it is all-wheel drive. You got the power steering rack there, you got the rear end up right there, and the rear end's right next to the motor mount. So one of the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the that big plastic shield out to access it. But I guess first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pop the manifold off. So let me get the manifold popped off and we'll come back. All right, I took the front plastic shield off so you can get a little bit better view of the motor mount right there. The AC compressor is really in the way, but they say you don't have to take that out. So we're going to get back in here and start doing the upper intake manifold and the shields. They say to take the shield off on the other side here. There's the right-hand motor mount right there. They say take that shield off also and take the nut loose so you don't rip that mount up when you're lifting the engine up. Okay, so at the moment, I still haven't taken the upper intake manifold off. There might be a different way to do this, and I'm going to try it a different way before I take the manifold off because I really don't like taking manifolds off unless I absolutely have to. So, as you can see down here right now, I've got the shield taken off. It was secured by these 2 bolts right here. I've got the upper nut off the motor mount, and now I'm going for the back bolt that holds the motor mount in. I've got my long 3-foot extension with a 15mm swivel down there, getting that bolt out. Up front here, I have already taken that front bolt out with a ratcheting wrench, and there's a better shot of the motor mount and the upper. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to take the upper bracket off from underneath. I'm going to take 2 of the bolts out that I can get from here and then go underneath and support the engine. And then once I take that loose, you know, I don't have to take the manifold off if it comes out. If not, I'll have to pull the manifold because there's only about a ½ inch to an inch room here. All right, let me continue getting some of these bolts out and we'll be back. Alrighty, well, I'm going to try not to take the manifold off. So this upper bracket here has a bolt here and a bolt there that you can't see, but I got it out. So now I have to take this bolt out and that bolt out, and that'll make this bracket loose. And I've got my jiggle jack underneath just barely lifting up on the motor. You can kind of see up through here, there's the starter. I can't get my hand in here, but the starter, the bolt is right next to the starter. So let me get these last 2 bolts out of that upper bracket, and I might be able to slide everything out without having to take the upper manifold off. Alrighty, I got all the bolts out of this upper bracket. As you can see, it's loose now. So now I'm just going to have to finagle it around to try to get it off the stud. So let me try to get it out and I'll come back. All right, everybody, it was a fail. There's not enough room for that upper bracket to come out. So I went ahead and put a bolt back in it right there, or I let the motor back down, and we're going to go up top and we're going to have to take the manifold off. So I got the manifold off finally. It was a pain in the butt. This bracket here has a 10 millimeter nut here and a 10 millimeter nut here. Then back there, there is a wire harness that pushes onto the stud that holds that in. And unfortunately that broke. So it was just a lever pain in the butt to get that nut loose, to get that bracket to move. Then on this side over here, you've got a bracket here and a bracket here. And you have to come down above the manifold, and there's two nuts there and a nut back there that is hard to get to. So once you get those out, then there's 7 bolts here that hold the manifold down. Now that has come out. So now I should be able to jack the motor up and get the motor mount out. Okay, well basically you do have to take this upper bracket off. So what I did is I just kind of pushed it up and leaned this over, and it finally popped out. So now this mount should slide out. So now all I have to do is put the new mount in. Make sure you put the mount in right where these tangs go. So I pulled it out that way. So these tangs are on the outside. All right, so there we go. There we got it out. And now, of course, this bracket has fallen down. So we'll have to position this back in there properly before we put the new mount in. All right, well, I'm going to show you a couple things on the intake manifold here real quick. There's one of the studs there, and there's the other stud. And then around the back side here, there's a nut here and a nut here for this bracket. And then the 7 bolts are right here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This job is a pain in the butt. So I don't know, this might be the end of the video. If it is, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I want to thank everybody for watching.